this is what we're planning to build today. It's a marketing analytics dashboard that is made with AI. Zero coding skills required. So let's go through this. So you have all the metrics, all the KPIs on top. If you scroll down, you even have filters to kind of, if you want to segment out any particular demographic or region. Few graphs on that, audience segment performances, geographic performances, then performance over time, right? So time series analysis as well. And then you have the detailed table level data as well. All of it built with AI completely, right? And this data would refresh as and when you want it. Let's look at the problem statement here really quickly, right? So if I just scroll up here, yeah. So let's look at digital marketing, for example. The marketing teams might be running ad campaigns across channels. Like it should be like, it could be social media like Instagram, Facebook ads, through email ads, or like just even paid search, right? On Google, Bing, and so forth. So important to track these ad campaigns because there is a lot of money being spent on them, right? And the ROI should be good enough for the campaigns to keep going on. And this is where companies lose out or lose out a lot of money on, right? Because that feedback loop is not really good. And that's where you need people or systems, especially who can take this data on a real time basis and just project on dashboards where the KPIs are very clear to the higher leadership. Few important KPIs here, right? CTR, which is click through rate. It's basically based on all the impressions, how many clicks are you actually getting? Similarly, cost per click, which is again out of what is the money that you're spending to earn one click, right? Next is cost per acquisition. So again, to convert a particular person into a customer, right? How much money do you spend to get one conversion? And then finally ROI, right? Which is basically if product is 50 rupees. So my conversions into my cost of the product, which is 50, minus the set spent on the entire ad campaign divided by the spend, right? That will basically give me an ROI. So these are a few metrics. Let's look at the data as well, right? So this is how the data looks like. You have date when the campaign ran. You have channel, which is search. It could be email. It could be social media. The number of impressions you got on that campaign, the number of clicks, the number of conversions, which is like the customer has actually bought your product, the spend on that particular campaign, the audience segment, Gen Z, professional, parents, students, and then finally the market region, right? Could be North America, Asia Pacific, Latin America, and so forth. Okay. So what are we exactly doing here, right? There are two parts to it. So one is the dashboard in itself, which for which we'll be using Lovable. And then we have the Anytime flow, the automation. What it does is, let's just imagine I am the marketing analyst, right? And there is a marketing team who actually sends me this data over email on a daily basis. So let's just say if I check my inbox, yeah. So basically I've got an email with the marketing data with this CSV, right? So step one is on an automated basis, getting this data, picking it from Gmail and then loading it into a temporary location, right? Or getting it ingested to, let's just say, a SQL database or a BigQuery or things like that. So that's step number one, the ingestion part of it. Second is calculating any metrics, any important metrics, like I said, right? The CPC or the ROI out of it and deriving more metrics out of it. Then is basically providing this visualization, right? Through all of this data being sent over to the dashboard so that as and when the dashboard is refreshed, you have the latest data being pulled into it. And that automation is happening on Anytime. So this is how the flow looks like at a high level. And I'll go through each of these nodes, but I'll take a pause and skip the webhook part of it. We'll jump onto the fetch email part of it, right? So click on the plus icon, which gives you any new right? New tools basically to use for. And here I can simply search for Gmail. If I click on Gmail, there are a lot of different things you can do, right? You can write an email, you can read an email, you can reply to one, you can create a draft, could be many things, right? Here, what I want to do is typically get a message or get many messages. So I flip that. And first thing, what I want to do is provide that credential, right? How I want to communicate and authenticate with Gmail so that it can go and read my emails. So this is an account I have created, but if you want to do it, you have to click create new credential and you have to do an OAuth authentication here, right? Which is very important. So how you will do it? You'll actually have to go to and create a Google Cloud account for it. So what I do is basically I go to console.cloud.google.com. If you have never explored this, you can go to the website. It will automatically give you a free trial for, I think, a couple of months. You can log in. You have to create a new project. So that will be the first pop-up that comes to you. If not, you can even click on this project picker over here, and this will also give you an option to create a new project. So I've created this Remger AI project over here. Once that is done, you go to the search bar, you search for Gmail API, right? So this is basically the API or the application programming interface, the way you connect and communicate with this tool, right? If I open this, the first thing that I'll have to do is enable API. I've already enabled this for myself, but you have to click on enable API button over here. Once that is done, you go back to the search bar and search for credentials, right? So now I've activated that tool or that service, how I am able to communicate it. Now I need to provide the authentication as well, right? What I'll do here is after I open credentials, I click on create new credentials and I click on OAuth client ID. Okay. This will open up a form of sorts where I have to put in some details. So the application type is web application. Name anything I can name it. And most importantly here, let's just say this authorized redirect URIs, right? This is where I would want to place the udirect UI which was shown over here. So this one. Let me just copy it. Let me go back to Google Cloud. Let me just paste this. Yeah, that's all. And I click on create, right? This would create my credentials. Now this is my client ID and this is my secret key, right? So let me copy that, paste it over here. Let me copy this, paste it over here. And then you'll be prompted to sign in, right? So once you click on sign in, you'll basically be taken to your account. Select the account that you want to sign in through. Click on continue. And then you just basically have to give the permissions, right? Whichever you want. So read, write, edit email and all those kind of stuff, right? I'll not do it again because I've already done it. Let me just click close. So I have this Gmail account now authorized, right? This was many messages. And then I just have deselect simplify so that I can add an option here to download the attachments because I'll be wanting to pull in that CSV, right? And then I click on filters. So here I can just add in a few filters. For example, read status. It should be unread emails only, right? So this, if it drops up in my inbox, I can directly get pulled it. Then second is sender. Let's just say somebody from marketing at remder.those, so right, something like this will pop up. Next is extract from file. So let's just say I have run this particular instance, right? Let me take an example of any execution that has happened. So if I click on get many messages, yeah, so this is what has happened. Basically, whenever the webhook gets called, I'll explain it later, but this first process will basically read through it and it has understand this one particular, right? The digital marketing one, this exact file has been downloaded as attachment 0, right? Next step is downloading or extracting information from that file. So let's go back to the editor. I click on this plus item. I'll say extract from file node. Then click on extract from CSV. This one is relatively simple. I just have to provide the name of the file, right? And the previous ID. And that was basically attachment 0 if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So it's attachment 0. I've just copy pasted that. What happens is also the best part of NADN is on the left side, you'll see all the inputs or basically the output of the previous node and then the output of this particular node on the right side, right? So the attachment went in and then next up is your the output, what comes out on the right side, right? So if I look at this table, this is the exact information that I was showing you on the CSV, right? All those kind of stuff. Now next up is basically calculating the KPIs. So what are these KPIs? The same metrics that I was showing you in the previous slide. Now again, I have added a node, right? A code node basically to create those metrics of sort. Now, if you might be thinking, I don't know JavaScript, that's not a problem. What I've done here, I'll show you. Let me just go to Claude. One of the chats that I've recently had with Claude, let me just open that. So this one. So what I've simply said is, I have a marketing data set which contains impressions, clicks, conversions, and spend data. Assume that each conversion gets about $50 revenue. Give me a JavaScript code for an NADN code node. So this is important, code node to calculate the new variables, CTR, CPC, ROI, and all stuff. And what it generates is basically this entire JavaScript code, right? Which I can simply just copy and paste it into this guy's node. That's all. So it's that easy. Again, let me show you the output of that particular node. So yeah, what it does is it's added the CTR, CPC and all those columns. So it's over here. It's calculated all these different metrics that I want to show on my dashboard. And that's pretty much it. So the entire flow in N8N is that simple. You've got that CSV file from Gmail, stored it in a temporary location, created a table out of it, and then created all your metrics. Now let's come to the important part, right? Which is webhooks. So what exactly is webhook? As you might know, right? Any web URL is basically a location that you go to and then you get back some information. So let's just say I type Google dot and then I get back some information, which is basically this web page. Similarly, my N8N flow can also provide a URL for which I hit that particular URL, N8N can send me back some information. And that is what exactly I'm doing here, right? I hit this URL. Basically, let me open this webhook. So how do I create a new webhook? I'll basically type just webhook and then this node, right? This is the exact thing. So you see, right? Test URL, production URL. There are two things. Whenever you want to make it live, you can copy this production URL. Otherwise, till then, if you want to run it manually, you can just get the test URL. So response should not be automatically. It should actually respond using this respond to webhook mode, right? What will that help in doing is when it gets triggered, it will wait for the entire workflow to finish and then respond via this webhook path rather than responding immediately. Next, what happens is when you trigger that, it goes through the entire chain. It fetches the location table, creates the KPIs, and then it sends it back, right? How do we create that? Again, go to this plus, type in respond to webhook. And this just, there's one setting, and that one setting you have to set as all incoming items. So everything that comes to this step, right? Just delete this, but everything that comes to from this calculate KPIs node, you basically have to send it back. And that's what exactly this does, right? If I just open this pack as well, let me just look at the last. So this is what exactly came in, all these metrics and everything. And that exact thing has been sent back as well to the dashboard. So the dashboard will be calling this URL and then all this information after processing is sent back to the dashboard. Okay. So that was part one. Now part two, right? How do I make this dashboard in itself, this UI, right? And this is a deployable link. So this is basically if you can copy and paste it in your web browser, you'll be able to see this exact same thing. How do we do that? We do it via Lovable. So Lovable is a no-code tool which basically builds out your entire websites or applications, right? And it's damn simple to use as well. So Lovable has reached to a point now that the app that is developed is also full-fledged and working. It's not like it has bugs and stuff. So it works really well. Again, detailed prompts do you write, your app will be that good, right? So again, we'll take the help of Claude. Let me open this digital marketing analytics dashboard. So what I've done is I've asked it, okay, I want to build a digital marketing analytics dashboard which makes use of data from my company, which contains daily records of channel impression, clicks, all these metrics and stuff. So I want you to create a beautiful prompt that I can give to Lovable, right? So Claude will basically give me the prompt to write. And then you get the data at this is the webhook that we copied from the previous page, right? Yeah. So if I open the first node webhook, I get the production URL, right? This production URL is something that we can pass on. Okay, let me go back. Yeah. So, and then I'll return the data like an array objects mentioned, right? So how you'll get that again, this webhook node. And then here you can get the JSON. So from this JSON, just copy the roughly the first 10, 20 examples or something so that it knows what is the schema that will be returned, right? And then you can simply copy paste that as well as a sample response thing, right? So this is as simple as it. Create a beautiful interactive digital marketing dashboard, the data source URL, what is the data structure, what all should be there in the UI design part of it, right? All of this information. So what I can simply do is copy this entire thing and I'll go and basically paste it in Lovable. Okay, so let me do that. Copy, paste it. The entire thing is here. Plus, it's just a added bonus. So if you want some inspirational, right, you can also go to dribble.com where you have a lot of different UIs that are available. You can also take inspiration from them, create your own in Figma and probably just take a screenshot of it and copy paste that here, right? So add as an attachment over here, you can just import it. So what Love will do, it'll try its best to kind of mimic that particular UI design as well. So once I click that, this is the exact prompt that I've put in over here on the left side. So in one shot, actually the entire UI dashboard has been created. So this is how it looks like without the data. You can also have a look at the code. If I click this button over here, you can also look at the entire code which was written over here. And now simply what you have to do is click on publish. So I've already published this, but you can also change the name of the URL where the dashboard resides. And then you can simply click on publish. That will give you directly everything deployed on this URL. If you can just simply copy paste this, you'll get over here. Let me just give you a live demo of this one. The last one is, let's just say 1110. Let me go back to data. So because this data is quite huge, I think thousands of rows, so it has refreshed. Yeah, but it typically might take a couple of seconds to do that. Yeah, and you also see there's a new entry over here, right? So if I recap the entire flow, you build this UI on Lovable. When it clicks refresh data, this is connected to that URL webhook. That triggers this flow. It fetches the mail from your Gmail, creates a temporary table. Out of that, calculates all your KPIs, and then information back to the dashboard, which is visible like this.